Hello, my name is Mark Perry. I'm from the Lifeboat College, one of the instructors for the launch and recovery. Today we're going to talk about the Talus Crawler, specifically put at Walmer, Clovelly and Minehead and Aberdiffe. It launches the B-class lifeboat. The Mersey side of things we'll talk about at a later date, but we're just going to cover this one today. The tractor should always be in a state of readiness, and the visual check and walk around should take no more than a minute. What we're going to do is check the condition and the security of the running gear, the tracks. We're going to have a look to see if there's any obstacles or any stones or anything left over from the launch from the last time, just to make sure there's nothing left in there that could fly out for the crew or damage the crew or the public. We're going to come to the springs, and as we remember on a training, if you can slide your hand through the spring, you know you have an issue. Please check the condition of the spring just to make sure that we haven't cracked any or corrosion's taken over. We're going to go back to the front of the machine and check the guide rod. We're going to give the guide rod a shake just to make sure there's no excessive play. Remember what we said on your training. If you can hear clanging, you know that we've got an issue there. Report it back to your region and they will get that sorted for you. The bellows, make sure the bellows are pumped up nice and hard and there's no leaks on there, and make sure there's no excessive leaks anywhere else from the air valves or anything else that you can see. It's a clear indicator if the bellows are down that there's a leak. Just go through, no leaks from the gearbox. We're going to open the bonnet and check inside just to make sure everything's okay. We're going to have a look back in through the body of the engine bay just to make sure there's no leaks or any visible leaks. And while I'm in there as well, I'm going to check that our isolator, our main isolator, is on, and it's in the on position there anyway. I'm going to shut the door. While we're doing the walk round, can we just make sure that the catches are cable tied back for the side hatches, just so that when we do go or we have to enter the water, that they're not going to foul and stop the door from coming or the hatch from closing. Again, we're going to check the right hand track. Just have a quick glance over the gearbox just to make sure there's no leaks on that one. Going to check the bellows on the right hand track and also the guide rod, as we showed you before. Give it a bit of a shake just to make sure there's no metal to metal play. I'm going to check the road wheels and the rest of the track, just make sure everything's okay and secure and how it should be. And then we're going to come to the main tension spring back here. If I can put my hand through any of the springs here, or they're too close, you know we've got an issue. Just have a look through here just to make sure we've got no grease leaks. And back to the tension wheel, make sure everything's cool with that, there's no problems there. When we get on top of the vehicle, let's just make sure that the fuel cap is secure and the mod or the safeguard on top is down in that position. We're going to check the security and the condition of the winch. We're going to go back down through the shackle, just make sure that the bow shackle's in good order, and then down to the webbing sling, just to make sure that's all in place and as it should be. Just double check that we've got our rope in and it's secure. Okay, we've got our isolator in the cab, which goes on first, and then we go to the starter or the ignition key here, which we will turn. We've then got the push to start. You will start the vehicle up after the head launcher has given you the go ahead to do so. You will then put on your lights, all your lights apart from the blue lights unless you're on a service call, and we'll go through the rocker switches here in front of you. You've got your rear wiper. The rear of the vehicle faces the boat. you've got your rear work light, you've got your rear main lights, your bilge pump, your cab light, interior light, and your claxton. Please remember to use the claxton every time we move off or every time we use the winch. You've got your left and right hand indicator, you've got your hazard lights, you've got your side and front lights, you've got your front work lights and your front wipers. In this position, they're behind you. We have the high and low for the winch, and we have the high and low for the track drive. The gauges, you've got your hours that the vehicle's actually worked, you've got your ampage, you've got your engine temperature or running temperature, and you've got your oil pressure gauge. You've got your RPM gauge here, that'll tell you how much RPM is coming out or you're demanding from the engine. Remember 1000 RPM or above for standard use. You've got your pull to stop, comes up, down, and you've got your warning lights for your HP filter, your left hand track and right hand track, and your track motor bypass brake release. If any of these lights come on whilst operating, you know your procedures, and that is to tell your mechanic or report it back through the system to region. You've got your winch boost pressure light, track boost pressure light, and your test point here, and the control error. The control error will come on if the controls are still locked into position fore or aft, or there is a problem with the joystick. The joystick, fore, aft, left, right, goes in the direction where you point it, and that goes for the one at the back as well, or at the front. On the aft of the joystick, you will see a button for contra rotate. That gives you the facility to contra rotate the tracked vehicle. The two dead man pedals, one is to make the vehicle go to actually drive, and the one on the right hand side is for your winch. Out is out, in is in. To the lower of that, you've got a hand throttle. Pull the hand throttle up, maximum revs, mid revs, low revs. Please remember again that it's 1000 RPM to get the best out of this machine. You've also got a hand throttle in the opposite direction, which works on the same principle. The turning handle here closes the hatches. You will only do that when you're entering the water. When coming out of the water, please drop the revs, take control of the knob on the handle, and slowly turn the handle to the open position. Please do not be tempted to flick it, because there is some power there. There is no firefighting system in the Talus Crawler anymore, but what there is an audible alarm and visual alarm to tell you that there is heat or fire within the engine bay. If that goes, refer to your emergency abandonment procedure. For those who have the hydraulic carriage and the carriage is on charge, can we please again ensure that we turn off on the wall first before disconnection or connection. After we've disconnected the charger, can we please make sure that the battery leads are connected before launching. We're going to disconnect the leads for the boat, the charging leads for the boat, but before we do that, can we please make sure that we turn the charger off first on the wall.